Val Kilmer was more than a Hollywood legend. He was more than Iceman in Top Gun, more than Batman, more than one of the most recognizable faces of 90s cinema. To most, he was an icon. But to two people, Mercedes and Jack, he was simply Dad. On April 1, 2025, Val Kilmer passed away at age 65 after a battle with pneumonia. His death marks the end of an era, but his life, and especially the love he poured into his children, continues to echo. Today, we're telling the story behind the headlines. This is about fatherhood, legacy, and how Val's children have become a living tribute to the man he truly was. Val Kilmer's devotion to his kids was clear, long before illness, long before retirement from the spotlight. He shared his children, Mercedes and Jack, with British actress Joanne Whalley. The two actors married in 1988, and by 1995 they had two children and had gone their separate ways. But no matter where his career took him, from blockbuster sets to global press tours, Val never wavered in one belief: family comes first. He once told Vanity Fair that he simply couldn't be a good parent while being gone most of the year. "I can't be a responsible parent and only be there 3 or 4 months a year." That quote says it all. Val wasn't just acting out roles on camera. He was living the role of a father with full commitment off-screen. Mercedes Kilmer, born in October 1991, grew up aware that her last name carried weight. "I don't remember not knowing that my parents were famous, but that didn't make life shallow or glamorous. It just made it different." And through all of it, her relationship with Val stayed grounded, real, and full of warmth. "My dad is such a smart and creative person that I love hanging out with, even if he wasn't my dad too." In 2020, Mercedes stepped into the film world herself, acting alongside her father in Pay Dirt, a crime drama where she played his on-screen daughter. But what started as a role turned into a life lesson. By that time, Val's voice had been damaged by throat cancer treatments. Mercedes found herself learning from how he communicated without speech, through gestures, timing, emotion. "It changed how I thought about acting. It expanded what acting even is." She also co-produced Val, the 2021 Amazon documentary that gave the world a deeper glimpse into her father's real story. The man behind the headlines. The goofy, brilliant, vulnerable man she grew up with. Watching the film with a live audience hit her hard. "I'm so used to people not understanding my dad." But this time, they did. While Mercedes found her place beside her father in front of the camera, Val's son Jack took a quieter but equally powerful path. Born in June 1995, Jack Kilmer grew up mostly outside the spotlight. He wasn't chasing fame. He was just living life as a regular kid with a not-so-regular dad. But the camera eventually found him. In 2013, he made his acting debut in Palo Alto, directed by Gia Coppola. The film also starred James Franco, and Jack had virtually no acting experience before stepping on set. Still, his natural presence and depth stood out. But more than acting, it was storytelling that bonded Jack and his dad. They would sit down and read scripts together, analyzing scenes, dissecting characters, imagining possibilities. "It was exciting," Jack said. "We could relate on a whole different level. It was a shared language, one that didn't need perfect health or perfect circumstances to thrive." Then came the turning point. Val lost his voice after undergoing intense radiation and chemotherapy for throat cancer. His once commanding voice, the one that gave life to Doc Holliday, Jim Morrison, and Batman, was now soft, raspy, nearly gone. And that's when Jack stepped in. For the 2021 documentary Val, it was Jack who narrated the story. Not just because he's an actor, but because his voice, in tone, in rhythm, in energy, sounded uncannily like Val's in his younger years. Val himself was stunned. There were times, he said, when I genuinely couldn't tell if it was Jack or me speaking. For Jack, it wasn't just about reading lines. It was about honoring his father, giving him a voice again, and doing it in a way only a son could. He worked to sound natural, effortless, like Val at his peak. And for viewers, it created a surreal connection. It felt like hearing Val tell his own story, even though he physically couldn't. But Jack did more than lend his voice. He also became one of the caretakers of Val's legacy. He was there for the daily routines, soothing vocal cords, adjusting equipment, being present when things were hard. It's tough, Jack admitted, but that's life. And honestly, we're just grateful for the time we get with him. And even though Val's voice changed, Jack said something powerful. I don't really notice it anymore. I guess I still hear his old voice when I talk to him. He doesn't seem like he's in pain. Sometimes you can't shut him up, and that's kind of beautiful. That's the kind of love that goes beyond words. A son who became the voice of his father, not because he had to, but because no one else could do it like him. Life wasn't easy. Cancer changed everything. And just when things felt darkest, fate threw another blow. Mercedes was hit by a car not long after Val's diagnosis. Father and daughter found themselves in the same hospital, fighting two different battles. But instead of falling apart, their bond deepened. Being sick brought us closer, Mercedes said. We got to spend real time together. I met so many of my dad's old friends. It was beautiful in a strange way. Even in pain, Val never stopped being a father. Even with limited speech, he never stopped being heard. And when Top Gun Maverick brought Iceman back for one final emotional reunion with Tom Cruise, Mercedes called it a surreal moment. Being on set with all the people who made that movie when they were my age, it meant the world to my dad, she said. It wasn't just a movie cameo, it was a farewell, a tribute to a life lived on and off the screen. Val Kilmer wasn't just a movie star. He was a dad who made every moment count. He raised two incredibly talented, thoughtful, and resilient kids, and gave them a legacy much deeper than fame. Through pain and healing, through film and family, Mercedes and Jack carry their father's light forward. Rest in peace, Val. Your voice, your spirit, and your love live on. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tribute, give it a like, subscribe for more stories that matter, and let us know your favorite Val Kilmer moment in the comments. See you next time.